Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of I Think I'm Human Too. If you follow me on any sort of social media, you already know who's next to me, but if you don't, this is Savannah.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.
Hashtag at Nurse Savannah Brennan.
Hey, girl.
Follow her. Raphael just beat her in following count, and she's like, you don't even post anything relevant. You post your deodorant.
I was like, of course, this happens.
People want to see the nitty gritties. Just start posting embarrassing stuff, and you'll find your following.
Just you wait.
Every time I sit here, I gave up my old setup to host other people, and I'm regretting it because they're the ones that get the good setup, and then there's just me.
I know, you gave me 2 pillows and everything. I feel so comfortable.
This isn't even standing upright. I feel like most of my time is spent just messing with this freaking microphone.
Let me know if you want help. Even though I love watching you struggle, but let me know if you want help.
I don't think you can even help with what I need help with.
I can help with maybe a little.
Do you have a psych degree?
I can support you.
Do you have any trauma therapy education?
No.
Okay, so this week's topic, let's get serious. Okay, this week's episode, I'm sure, is going to be a little bit longer just because her and I are literally just so us. She's my Leo. I call her my Leo queen now because my dad was my Leo king, and since he passed, I was like, you got big shoes to fill. Actually, he didn't have that big of feet. You actually probably had bigger feet than Bill did. May he rest in peace.
Probably the same size.
Literally. But yeah, so I brought Savannah on because this week's episode is all about friendship, and I'm really wanting to talk about a lot of different things. But something that I have said many times in my past episodes is I think that loyalty is not equivalent to time. And I feel like a lot of people equate loyalty to time. So Savannah's actually my newest friend, and I have really good girlfriends, but I have 2 best friends, and Savannah's one of them. Congratulations.
Oh, I made the
Gold
cut.
star.
Oh, I was
She
sweating
did.
over here.
Barely. And then my other one's Haley, and I normally refrain from using names, but I know Hales is pretty much okay with it.
If not,
So-
sorry, Haley.
Yeah. Haley. Anyways, something that I thought was fun to bring Savannah on for is because I've heard people from my past kind of make comments and be like, oh, Catherine and Savannah, they're real besties now. And I'm like, okay, I get that to the outside world, people might be like, oh my God, how can you have such a bond from such a short amount of time? What are we at, like a year and a half now?
Yeah, 1.5 years.
And something that I think is important, again, it's sometimes you just find your people. And sometimes there's people that you've had around for 15, 20 years, and you're like, why are you my people?
Right.
Just because you add up the time and you're like, oh, I can't say bye now, so you stick around for some things that you might not want to stick around for.
Or it's like that comfortability. Like, you're comfortable, and it's like you don't know how to get out of that cycle. And breaking a cycle is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So I opened up on Instagram last week some questionnaires just to kind of see what people want to talk about with friendships, but I know that like her and I both kind of have our own ideas. So let's get into how we met, because I think that's something that one of the questions is like, how do you meet friends at this age? And do you want to tell the story? You can tell the story if you want.
Can I tell this story?
Yeah, go
'Cause
for it.
I'm like,
The world is your oyster.
okay, perfect. So it's so funny because you have a huge following on TikTok, and I don't really use my TikTok. I was never on TikTok. And I followed her on Instagram. I think you're at what, 10,000?
I think I just hit 10,000.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, her family's so cute. I love her dog. So like, she just looks kind of nice. And as many people know, it's like social media, you can kind of pre-screen. It's kind of like a dating app for friends, I feel like. So I was
Literally.
like, right? I was like, I just like her vibe. She seems super chill. And I had messaged her.
You think I sound chill?
She seemed chill, but I don't know now.
That's the one thing you don't get about me online. Actually, I feel like they do, just not to the extent that it really is.
Facts. But also, it's like, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Thank you.
So, message her on Instagram. Or did we message before that?
So I had actually messaged Savannah years ago.
Yeah.
And, okay, we'll get into this in a different episode because a little backstory. Savannah does, what is it called?
An aesthetic injector.
She's an aesthetic injector. Okay.
Say
you
that
heard
5 times
here.
fast.
You heard that? Yeah, I can't even say it 1 time fast. So that's what Savannah does for a living, and she has obviously her page is under Savannah Brennan. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, how many units? I was like the most annoying follower. And we'll get into this in a different episode about like her job and really you're such a people pleaser. I feel like in a customer service industry you need to be. But I had told Savannah, because and I know I'm going way off track, but I messaged her. I was like, how many units of Botox do you think I need? And she was like, I don't know. You'd have to come in for a consult. And I was like, I don't want to. I didn't say that, but.
You're like, that takes time, and I don't have time.
Well, I was like, because when you're messing with your face, and her and I have talked about this, she is coming from a different standpoint of the education she has. She's like, just come and get a consult. But people on the other side are like, well, it's my face. I don't know you. I don't trust you yet. Now I'm like, I won't go to anyone else. I don't care who, what, when, where. I'll fly her out. I'll fly home. I don't care. I will be in that chair only. But I had messaged her and I was like, hey, how many units of Botox do I need? And she's like, you got to come in for a consult. I literally unfollowed her like a couple weeks later. I was
This
like,
bitch.
because I was following, you kind of do that when you're like looking for an injector. You follow a ton. I follow a bunch of nose doctors right now because I'm kind of shopping around for a nose job. And finally, a couple of months went past, and I refollowed you, and then I think you had followed me at.
I think so.
Our timeline's a little. I don't know how.
Instagram and TikTok both have unfollowed and followed so many times. I'm like, I think I was just always following.
No, I know for sure I unfollowed you, like purposefully, and it wasn't because it was Savannah. No offense to Savannah, but it was the what is it?
And this episode's about friendship here.
I know. I'm so sorry. I had followed a bunch of injectors that I like unfollowed because I was like, you know what? I'm never just going to get it done. Like, I don't care. It's fine. I just followed too many people.
It's that pre-screening though. It's like you kind of want to see their vibe, their page, kind of what they're all about. So you follow a lot of them to see their work.
And something that we have also talked about is making sure that oh, no, sorry. I just had a complete brain fart and I literally just lost it. I was like, doo-doo-doo.
You need more coffee?
You know what? I forgot. The cosmetic industry, or even like finding a new hairstylist. Sometimes being a girl, finding a new person like that, the cosmetic world is scary.
Oh,
and you guys are all gorgeous, and we're walking in like, hey, I'm a little bit ugly.
I need a little bit of help. That's why I'm here.
I need your help.
Can you help me?
Help. I need somebody. Anyways, so I ended up you had messaged me a couple of months later. I had followed you back, and she was like, hey, I would love to do complimentary Botox right before the wedding for you. And I was like, wasn't just complimentary. I guess I can try her out. And I literally sat in there. I came home from it. I think we were there for what? No, not that time. We weren't there that time.
The first one was only like an hour or so.
And I came home and I was like, Raphael's like, how was it? I said, I feel like I could be friends with her. Like, I'm just obsessed with her. And I went in like shaking. I was like, one, I was nervous to meet you. Two, again, you never know what these girls are actually like. Like, same for you. You probably were like, this influencer or wannabe. Like, is she going to be an asshole? And then also for you, I was like, okay, is she going to be nice or mean?
Right. I mean, I bite.
No,
every once in a while.
You are kind of mean. But only to like me.
I just tell you what's wrong and what I could fix.
Oh my God, we're not going to get it. Anyways, so I ended up sitting in her chair, leaving that day. I had said to Raphael, I was like, I feel like I could be her friend. And then
I said the same thing to Coast. I was like, oh, I had a client today I actually kind of like. She's super fun. I'm like, we're kind of on the same life path. And then the next time, did we do a consult that day? I think.
Yeah, we talked about getting my lips dissolved. So that was my second time because I had a bad experience before her and I was migrating pretty bad. So my second time coming in was for a dissolver.
And it was all like the wedding prep leading up to it. But I think the second time we talked for like 3 hours. We didn't even do a treatment for 3 hours. And Raphael actually texted her and he's like, are you okay? You're like safe? Still at Lifetime?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And then I think we got food after. Sorry, husbands. That's when it all started.
I think that was our yeah. And then our third time we were done. We were like, we knew it. It was real life from there.
Yeah.
Our first or second meeting, I was like, you should come to our wedding after party. She's like, okay.
We had so many similarities. Just like our lives were so similar. Our family was so similar. Just all the things.
So that was kind of where I wanted you on this one because, again, so many people equate friendship to time and all that. And Haley, for example, has been in my life for almost 10 years now. And her and I are basically like, I don't want to say sisters because I don't feel like it's a sister level. What would you consider like I would say she's like a cousin almost. Like, it feels like she's
Yeah.
literally family.
Like, she knows so much about you that it's like,
And my like, it's just
Yeah.
weird. The integration, it literally feels like Haley's my cousin almost.
mm-hmm.
But something that her and I had related on right away, step one, day one, she was like, I love that you do social media. Literally one of the first things you said to me when I was sitting in your chair. And she was like, I want to grow my social media. Like, I really want to be I want to do that eventually, maybe as a hobby, if not full time, if feasible. So since day one, we just kind of like learned more and more about each other. And we have a lot of similar mindsets in almost everything, which is kind of humorous to me because I feel like a lot of people kind of go opposite ways. Like, Haley and I are kind of opposite on a lot of things, which I feel like that's our connection. You and I are similar on a lot of things, but the things that we're not, we're very comfortable being like, I'll be like, Savannah, be nice.
She says that. I know.
Which is so funny because you think it would be opposite, but I'm like, Savannah.
I know.
But she helps me through like a lot of because especially like my dad dying, I've talked about this before. Emotions were not my strong suit. Articulating my emotions I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always like, this and this. And I'm like, Savannah, take off your medical hat and just listen to me. And she's like, well, the chemicals in your brain are telling you this.
Like, and it's okay. It's all normal.
It's all normal. In the worst, best ways possible.
In all of the beautiful ways.
We love it. We love it. Anyways, so where I was kind of wanting to structure that is, it goes back into the conversation last week that I was talking about, and that was kind of like why I wanted to tie the 2 weeks together. It starts with your community and finding the people that have similar interests, similar likes, relatable experiences. Even, for example, like a parent dying is something that you've never been through. My girlfriends have never been through. My husband's never been through, but that doesn't mean that there's not a whole community out there. So not that you want to build a friendship off of a loss, but some people might. So grief, there's like grief groups, I'm sure. There's probably Facebook groups for everything and anything under the sun you can find. So just really finding your community is huge. I think Savannah and I had such similar interests and just paths of life, the things that we wanted to accomplish in the time frame, even just down to the simple things of like right now, Haley is like dead set. She's like, I love children. I want to be a mom. Both her and I are like, we want to live our lives right now, and not saying that any child would hold us back. If anything, I feel like it would add a lot of value. But both Savannah and I are so driven in the sense of like, I feel like we wouldn't tackle what we would want to tackle because we would put our lives on the back burner to be the best, most present moms.
Oh, for sure.
And I also feel like our other side of us would be like, do we hit
our maximum potential?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm like, I want to hit or feel like I've accomplished things that I can be proud of, which I'm proud of my life. You're proud of your life, but I'm like, I know that there's more for me. It's like when you know that there's more, I'm not ready to give up.
You just have a feeling.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not ready to give up my sense of responsibility yet.
Yeah.
Like, I want to.
Yeah, the lack of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the other thing is we talk a lot about once you some people have different goals, obviously, but you and I strive for like, let's get here. And then when we get there, they're like, okay, we need to get here. And I think that also has to do with like, especially me, speaking for myself, Raphael is very goal driven. He's like, let's get here, and then focuses on the next thing. And right now, Raphael and I have said we don't want to bring babies into the world until we're fully 110% ready. That could be 10 years from now. That could be never. That could be next year. And you're kind of the same of like, once I've gotten done what I really want to get done, then we can talk about it.
And I don't know what I want to get done yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just got to figure it out.
We got plenty of time.
got time.
There's science in this world that can freeze anything and bring
Facts.
it to life whenever I say yes.
So that's going to happen.
So I may be looking for a surrogate in 20 years.
Keep you all posted.
When I turn 50 and I can no longer carry it on my own, I might need to call someone.
Right. I got you on the plastic surgery front if you have to.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I want to talk. What do you want to bring up on some topics?
You know, I think one thing that is a consistent thing is like how to make friends in your 20s and as an adult, because I think that's a really hard thing to do. And for me personally, before I met Catherine, I honestly felt like I didn't really have like a best friend, quote unquote.
Oh, you hear that?
Don't let it get to her head, okay? I have to humble her a little bit.
Bestie.
You are.
Do you think it's for the rusty? Is the real question?
You know, we'll see. I'm
We
gonna
don't have a
keep you
matching
guessing.
tattoo yet, so Haley and I do. So we
Obviously,
haven't
it's
trauma
not that.
bonded her that fast.
I know too much, so we're gonna have to do that
Facts,
quick.
actually, she really does.
Facts. But I think the biggest thing of like making friends in your 20s is it is hard. It's not easy, especially when you get into your day-to-day life of like working, and if you're doing a 9 to 5, it's like you don't really go out much. You don't do a lot. For me, being in school, I was like, I'm barely out. She's the one that drags me out right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't go out otherwise because it's hard. And it's hard to trust when you've been hurt by friends in the past, which I'm pretty sure we all have. So I think that's a big piece of like making friends in your 20s is you just have to be open to it. That's like the first thing is you have to be open to it. And friendships it's a joint effort. It's like a relationship. So you have to give and you have to also receive. So you have to think about what you're willing to give in a friendship and where your own boundaries are. And that's something I had to learn kind of the hard way growing up because I'm a people pleaser, as you said. So I have the tendency to bend over backwards for people and just
It's walked over.
yeah. Okay. Well, yes.
So if I'm ever
Yes.
walking over you, please let me know.
Oh, I will.
I think going off of what you said, something it goes back and forth, and it is a relationship. Any relationship you have in this life, whether it's a marriage or a parent or a sibling, that's all relationships. And being upfront and honest, kind of like in a dating stage of like my girlfriends know, I do not text. If I text back, it is only to my manager, someone in my agency, and if it's like a 911, hey, I need an answer really fast.
Or you want to talk about it later.
And
Like
she's a
little
texter. She'll be like, and I'm like, I dead ass just ignore them. I don't even open them. But we've gotten to the point where we know every day we talk on FaceTime. I talk to Haley every day on FaceTime. I talk to my mom every day. Like people know that like if it's serious, you just got to call me because I'm not going to even open the message. But that was something like to her and I was like, Savannah, I know you're just texting me just to brain dump. I appreciate it. I love it. I'm not telling you to stop, but don't be offended when I don't respond because I'm not going to respond. And it's actually, I feel like it's gotten even worse. That was even at the beginning of our friendship. And now I'm like, I don't even.
Which I appreciated though, because for me, I was all in the past, that's my way of communication because I'm always so go, that is kind of a way to be like, hey, we have to talk about all of this or we have to talk. And now getting busier, it's like, okay, we need to talk about these things. It's like our little reminder list to ourselves. But being open and honest right away is huge. Like otherwise I would have gotten almost butthurt because I'm such a people pleaser. I'm like, wait, why isn't she texting back? Does she not like me? What's happening? Did I say something wrong? So you kind of internalize and your past friendships are kind of based how you feel with new friends coming in. So that's the tricky part of making new friends is you kind of take all the hurt and the struggles from past friendships and bring them into the new one, which is something you have to let go of and be like, I'm a new person. I'm at this new stage in life and I have new things to offer someone. And if they're not your cup of tea, they're not your cup of tea. Not everyone will be.
Yes, absolutely. Especially that can go with any relationship, friendship, anything. What is the saying? Don't let old cuts bleed on new people. Like, don't like, yeah, like,
I don't know.
You know how like they say that if you're cut from a past relationship, you have to let it fully heal?
Yeah.
Or you're going to bleed on the next person and they're going to have blood on them that's not theirs.
It was very vivid.
I know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I got what you were saying,
I didn't make it up.
What you were putting
I
down.
didn't make it up. I promise. Raphael just texted me. Oh, okay. Real estate. Anyways, so there was a question I opened it up to Instagram to kind of see what people wanted to talk about and wanted to touch base on. And I know that we had just kind of covered something about the communication in friendships, but how do you deal with a one-sided friendship? And I don't feel this in my current girlfriend, so I would definitely have to go into past girls. And so let me give a little bit of a backstory. I was raised in Florida my entire life. I spent 18 years there. And from childhood, you build your ground up with your girlfriends. And then I moved. And I thought those relationships would last for sure. I was like, oh, these are for lifers. And they weren't.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to think that it could end when it's so good at the time, which is a healthy way to look at it. Because if you went into a friendship and it's like, this isn't going to last, then you're not giving it your all either, which is the best thing you can do in a friendship or relationship. Yeah.
Something that is important to me, and this has always stuck with me, one of my moms had always said when I was a kid, you have friends for seasons and reasons. And I tell everybody that. Even jobs, I believe, are for seasons and reasons. I feel like every stage in your life is for a different reason, has a different purpose into molding to who you are. So I could even say, yeah, my dad's death was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It absolutely sucks. But at the end of the day, it's gotten me to who I am now. And I have to be thankful for that. Granted, do I want him 6 feet under? No, but it is what it is. It's reality. You can't take it back. So you got to grow from it. Every loss you have in this lifetime, every love you have in this lifetime, even if it's a love and then a loss, it's for a reason. And every girlfriend that comes into your life, it's either to teach you a lesson, to teach you something new. We talk all the time about, this sounds really bad, but each person at any table has to bring a benefit. So if you have a table full of 6 girlfriends, or it's you and your husband and your sibling, everybody has to bring something to the table. And I think the older you get, the more you realize that that's not fucked up. I think people think like, oh, does she benefit me as a friend? Well, I need to benefit her too, though, or should, honestly.
Yeah.
Every friendship should be a benefit to each other. And sometimes that doesn't need to be in a monetary value. That doesn't need to be in a materialistic value. It could just be in the simple fact of like, you bring a shoulder to cry on with great advice, or you bring me out of my real life and we can go have dinner and it's a wonderful night. And you just brought me out of a horrible mindset. It doesn't really need to be much past that.
It's not transactional, which is like,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is,
Thank you. She knows how to articulate.
yes, it's not transactional, but it's about showing up. And like, if you have people in your corner that show up for you, they might not be able to be like, okay, I'm going to take you on lavish trips, but they show up for you. And that's the most important thing. And that's something that I found in Catherine. I'm like, if I'm in a bad mood, she'll keep FaceTiming me until I answer the phone. And then she'll turn my mood around, which is so important because past friendships, it hasn't been that way. So you don't know what you're lacking in a friendship. And for me, I looked back at all my past friendships and I was like, what made those friendships end? Was it me? Was it them? Was it like a joint effort? And seeing my faults too of, okay, I'm bringing this to a friendship, but I also am bringing in some negativity here. How can I make that better? Because then I put my trauma and drama on you, and that can hurt our friendship. So it's all about kind of that give and take. And there's some days, which you had talked about in previous podcasts, where it's like there's some days that she needs more, and that's that kind of back and forth. And
There's
I
some
need
months
more.
I need more. I've been on a month-long bender right now.
There's phases in life that people go through,
Yeah.
and it's like there's phases, and I will probably hit some of those phases. I know I will hit some of those phases, and I know that she would have my back like I had hers. So I think having that friend that will show up for you at the end of the day is the most important thing.
I agree. Something that you had touched on was being like knowing your own faults too, especially in friendships. Especially as a woman, a lot of girls have this, guys have an ego, but girls have like a spite almost in them of like, I know, sometimes I will literally know I'm wrong and I will not give it up. I'll be like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to say sorry. No. I have grown so much because I used to be like that. And I was a horrible friend back in the day. I was very selfish. I was going through a lot of things. I feel like not everyone, but a lot of people go through that phase of like that young and dumb and dating someone shitty and drinking and spending all your money and whatever. I don't know. I went through a really bad, I don't know if you went through that, but I went through a phase of just like treating my girlfriends like shit. Granted, those girls aren't in my life anymore right now because of the stage I was in. That's how I found them. And since I'm no longer in that stage, obviously I had to get out. They've went their way. I don't know what they're doing. But I was not very nice to them. There was many nights where I hated my own life and I would drink. And then somebody else, my alter ego, we literally would call her Liz. Liz would be, because my middle name's Elizabeth. And we called her Liz. And people will still like make jokes. My cousin will be like, oh, is Liz going to come out tonight? I was like, Liz is dead, okay?
I've never seen Liz.
Liz
okay?
can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, because she's dead. Boom. Look what you made me do. Anyways, sorry. That was my Swiftie moment.
But I think, like you said, it's like for your past, you recognize your faults. You were at a different place in life. For me, I was the opposite. And I was going through a lot of things personally with my relationship at the time. I just moved to college and I shut everyone out. So I secluded myself because I was so afraid of getting hurt and used, because in past friendships, that was something that was my problem, is I was getting hurt and used because I was such a people pleaser. So it was on me as well because I wanted to please so many people. And people, I mean, we're all humans. We like to have that.
Everyone takes more than they give.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. So it's like if you're constantly giving, people are going to constantly take. And so boundaries are something that I'm still learning. I still struggle with it. I'm like, I text her and she's the one that I'm like, hey, what do I do? Because like I have struggled for so long with boundaries. So for me, it was the opposite, where I was like, I didn't treat people shitty, but I secluded myself because I was like, I just would rather not have friends because I know it's going to happen.
So what's funny to me is you set boundaries very quickly with your close people though. but she'll let strangers. And I'm like, okay, my math ain't mathing here, babe. Like,
You know what it
love you
is?
so much.
You know what it is?
Which
It's-
I respect,
Yeah.
because at least I know that you're always keeping it real with us,
Yes.
like in the inner circle. But I say this to her all the time.
Mhm.
She'll complain about something, and I'll say, okay, well, have we set up something to, like, are we gonna move past? Like, are you gonna figure out how to get past this? And she'll be like, yeah. 2 days later, she's complaining about. I said, no, we don't want to hear about it anymore until you deal with this.
It's so true.
Like, I don't want to. You can't complain. Literally nothing about anything. And
Yeah.
we say that to her all the time, because she'll be like, well, this and this happened. I said, okay, well, this is how we're gonna deal with it. She said, okay. And then days will go past, and she'll complain again. I'm like, Savannah,
I now know what I can't talk about. So there is that.
You can talk about it.
But like you said, it's like for me, I go into it like I don't know what people are going through behind closed doors. And I look at each person, I'm like, okay, you're a stranger and you're not part of my close friend group, so I don't really know who you are,
Yeah.
what you're going through. And
You're empathetic for sure.
yeah, and it's like you don't know what's happening in their life. So they could be having the worst day. They could have just lost a parent. They could have just lost their kid. Some of the things that some of my clients tell me, I'm like, wow, I would have had no idea. And going through clinicals for school, like hearing some of these stories, I'm like, it's just about being kind to some of these people, because even though they're coming off harsh, they have a reason for it and they have a reason to protect their energy. And so just be the best person you can be to each single person in the room. And your inner circle has the blessing of knowing what you're feeling and what
Who
your
you really
reactions are and who you really are.
Who are you?
Still trying to figure that out, to be honest.
Yeah, seriously. So this is something that I think maybe you'll have a little bit of insight. How do you handle grown women acting like high schoolers when they get mad and tell your secrets?
I tell my own secrets so that people have nothing against me. But
Facts. Let me just give one piece of advice. Doing social media has taught me, if you get out in front of everything, there is nothing that can take you down. I think when people ask me all the time, like, how would you, dead ass, I told Savannah this. There was someone saying something, talking shit about her online. I don't remember what the scenario was, but I said, Savannah, if you let this one person take you out, it'll wipe out everything. You have to just not give a single fuck. No fucks given, okay? Chloe K here.
a lot
I'm
easier
looking
said
for
than
the
done.
No, I'm so serious. If you, like, someone's like, oh, your nose is big. Babe, I know. Like, I've known since I was 10. Like, nothing you can tell me today. Anything you say, it cannot get to you. You just have to deal with that. But where she was saying, like, we have no secrets, dead serious. If you have secrets to hide,
I mean,
that's on you.
right, exactly. And it's like, why are you trying to hide them? Are you embarrassed of them? Are they something? And that goes into like your own self-growth. I think when girls are acting mean or are rude to other women, it's their problem. It's not yours. And that's something that I had to learn, especially now that I'm trying to grow my social media. And she's helped me a lot with that, because I do internalize everything. And that's the one thing that we're probably different in, is I internalize and I just think all the time what people say, because I'm like, okay, well, this, and then I spiral. And I've now started to like deflect, and I'm like, that's not a me problem. That's a you problem. And that's something that you have to work through. But I'm going to put my best foot forward, and I'm going to be kind to you, because obviously you need a little bit of love. I mean,
No, I go opposite. Leave me alone. I block you. Bye.
I'm not a blocker.
Sorry. You'll get there. I promise. Yeah. At this point, I used to respond to people or write back or make a video on it. Now I'm like, block, 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 block.
And bye.
Bye. One of the questions was, how do you handle being in a different stage of life than some of your girlfriends?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like, honestly, we're all in different stages of life. Even her and I being best friends, like, we're in different stages of life. Haley's in a different stage of life. Like, we're all, even though we're all married, no kids, like, we're each doing something different.
All the single ladies.
We're not.
Damn it.
Sorry. I do think that I feel as though when you have friends in different stages of life, learn, ask them questions, be like, tell me about this stage of life, because eventually you're going to be there if you're not there yet. And to have that insight about something you're not through yet, you get that like kind of like precursor, which is huge, because if they're going through something, even if you don't go through it, it's going to open up your mindset to learn about them, and then also help other people that come to you in the future with new friendships and are like, hey, I'm really struggling with this. And you actually have some knowledge about someone who had been through that in the past. So I think learning and growing, and not being like carrying it with like a chip on your shoulder, like, oh, they're doing so much better, like I'm at a different stage. Enjoy that stage. That stage is going to come and go so quick. Enjoy it and learn from the other stages in your circle.
Mm-hmm. I get nervous, especially like I had said previously, Haley is so excited to be a mom, and I'm so excited for her to be able to do things in her lifetime that she wants. But having a friend that is wanting to go into something completely like and I need to say this nice in a, how do I say it nicely? Like, I don't want to say kids hold you down, but I definitely feel like if their first few years of life, like you can't really go places.
Yeah.
You can, yes. I'm not saying like you're locked into your house every single second of every single day, but I feel like right now it's already hard to kind of get in touch with some girlfriends, or like we literally have planners the size of a textbook being like, are you free this day? What time? Oh, can we make 2 hours work here? Like the older you get as adults, you get less and less time. Every single second of every day it gets busier. And then when you add a child into the mix, it's like, okay, well, how do I maintain this friendship? Because we are in two different stages. But something that you had just said is like, just know that everyone's stage of life is at that time in their life for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I know it's cliche, but there's going to be things as friends that are going to be just different stages. It is what it is. I mean, you just bought a house. We're looking at buying a second house. Like that's a different stage of life, even though we're in the same stage or in the same time together. We're all going through different things. And say Haley does get a baby one day, I'm going to be so excited for her. Say you guys do something that you've been working for. We're going to be so excited. But it's just, if you want that relationship to continue, you figure out how to make it work. And if it's not, this is where I went back into, if it's more problem, if it's more heaviness than it is just excited to get together with some friends, maybe that's not a friendship that you want to hold on to. But if it is, you'll figure it out. That's with relationships too. Like there's hiccups in everything that we go through, every person that we encounter, there's always going to be a hiccup. It's just figuring out how to make sure that you get out on the other side of it.
For sure. And
it'll take work from both parties too. So if you're, say Haley, and I'm using Haley as an example, and I've been using her just because I know that again she wants to go into a mom, and that's something that I have another girlfriend that has 2 children and she's a single mom, and it's really hard, but her and I both always keep in contact. We both try and make it work. It's very rare. It's here and there. But the same thing with Haley, like when she has babies, and we're just going to have to make it work. One day she might be like, you know what, Catherine, I'm sick of making it work with your schedule. Like, peace out. She better not. I'm going to take a baby. I'm going to catch a kidnapping charge before anything's even born.
I didn't hear that.
It wasn't me. Raphael's not home. It's fine.
Well, and it also goes to say, like, you outgrow people. Sometimes your best friends, like think of high school, college, it's like you outgrow them and it's not a bad thing. It's just that you're growing and they're growing, and you don't always grow together in any relationship.
Any of them.
And quality over quantity.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. I have a solid group of gals. I wanted to bring up something because I know you just said school. I want to touch on this because I think it's very important. When I think of girlfriends, I see on TikTok all the time, like these weddings with 20 freaking bridesmaids.
I know, I'm like, that's a lot. I don't even have that many like people I know, I don't think.
I'm like, I can't even text back 2 people, much less 20. Like, how do you do it? But Raphael and I, when we got married, he had 6 groomsmen, 5 because one of them dropped, and I had 4. And I remember being like, oh my God, is this about to be embarrassing standing up there with less? Did you guys have the same amount?
No, we didn't. We had, so I was in nursing school, and whenever you're in that stage, again, in that stage of nursing school, those are my close friends at the time. Some of them I still talk to, some of them I don't, but they were my bridesmaids at the time because that's who I was close to. That was the life I was living around, in that moment. I had 5, and Coast actually had 2.
Okay, so you had more.
I had more. And we had 2 of the girls walk down together, and then my brother took 2 of them. So we made it work. I think we're also focused on the aesthetic. So it's like, it's hard because we're also focused on like, we need everything to match, but I didn't have the same amount.
So when I see the girls with like 20 bridesmaids, I kind of look into their life because I was like, how? And almost every single time it's a college. They're like friends. They either were in the same sorority. They played sports. It's always college. Yeah. I think a lot of girlfriends die off after high school. If you have a high school girlfriend that's remained since high school, give yourself a pat on the back because that's huge. That is insane.
That's work on you and your friend.
Yes. Not only have you had to make it through high school, then you had to make it through your college stage if one went or if both went, whatever. Then you got to get into the workforce. Then people start dating. Then you start making new friends. That's a lot to make it through. So if you have a high school girlfriend, pat yourself on the back and send this to her, please, because we need to tell you guys that. But college is where you're really starting to find yourself. And I didn't really do the normal college experience. Did you?
No.
No, you didn't either.
No, my college experience was terrible.
Same.
Mm.
I dropped out. She went for her master's.
I dropped out, then went back, then dropped out, then went back.
And now is a doctor.
Almost.
Almost. Anyways, so that's when I always try to compare. I'm like, why am I a bad girl? Like, am I naughty?
Is it me? Am I the
Am
problem?
I the problem? But I always look at it's always the girls that went to college and got that, not like not went to college and lived at home, but like you lived in a dorm, you lived in a sorority, like really nitty gritty on the ground in a university, running the streets with each other Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all the days that ended in Y. And I love that for them. I'm excited. I love that they have those bonds and those relationships and there can be a big group of them. I don't know how the hell they keep up with it, but I have this sort of jealousy and I'm like, should I have gone to university? Like, but then I just got to stop myself and be like, you know what? The quality over quantity, not saying that 20 girls can't be very quality driven people and great morals and values. Maybe not. It's not my business. But really just making sure your support group, no matter how large or small, is all you need. Obviously, having 20 friends, you have 20 different people to go to with anything that comes up. So you probably, like, I guarantee you 2 people in that friend group have lost a parent and you can relate there. I don't got that. So whatever. But I think it's important to not judge off of other people and looking and being like, how do you have so many friends? What's wrong with me? Why do I not have this many friends? Because I genuinely do think that sometimes I'm like, what? Am I just a bitch? Like, what happened?
That's you internalizing everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's people in general. Like, we internalize what we see. And when you're in college, that's like a really intense time of your life. And if those people have your back in that moment, it's kind of like your ride or die. And then you continue to stay like in a group. If you live close together, there's a lot of factors. But I agree with you. When I see those people, I'm like, wow. I'm like, man, I have no friends.
Man.
I'm like, I have no friends.
Man.
The only one that texts me are my mom and my
Man,
husband.
I need a margarita, man.
Make that too.
Me and my margarita. Down here in Margaritaville. My dad used to love that song.
I love a margarita or two.
What do you think about friends that don't have the same morals and values as you do? What do you do?
That's a really tough one because if it doesn't, I feel like as long as the friends can talk about it and have a really productive conversation of, hey, tell me why you feel that way. And you can be respectful of each other's boundaries and each other's morals and be respectful and still understand the other person, not saying that you agree, then the friendship can last. But if it's something that it's like, if you like the color red and that's something that's like my cutoff, then you have to end the friendship because eventually it's going to get worse and worse because as we age, we get more stuck in our ways. Mm-hmm. And so if the morals bother you now or if something bothers you now and you just let it go, it's going to bother you tomorrow. It's going to bother you a year from now. It's
forever.
Going to bother you forever.
I'm opposite. I don't even waste time on people that have different morals and values because I think that's so love ya. I think
so we have the same morals and values.
Something that's important to me is not wasting time anymore. I think there's something that's just, it hit me in my life. I don't know if it was actually before my dad even passed of like, any new relationship being built is exhausting. Yeah. It's exhausting, especially like say you build it, right? And then you're like, ooh, you're maybe not who I thought you were. I've had a lot of those girlfriends and they could probably say the same about me. But cutting off a friendship is a lot of hard work too. Mm-hmm. And then, so to me, I'm like, right away, I'm like, if I, not sitting here saying like, who do you vote for? What religion do you believe in? Like, it's not an interview, but you kind of can read people really fast. And if I'm like, we just aren't aligned, I don't even put in the energy. I can kind of just like, okay, nice to meet ya.
Yeah, like your intuition is there for a reason, so follow it.
Yeah.
So if you have that bad feeling and you're like, you know what, I just don't know if this is like my friend, that's okay. You can be acquaintances. You just don't have to be the close friend of like, I'm going to call you at 10 p.m. and if you don't answer, I'm going to keep calling you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that come and go seasons. I mean, just what it is.
Seasons. Situational.
Very situational.
I kind of want to touch on how like friendship breakups because they're freaking hard. I feel like a friendship breakup is almost worse than a relationship breakup.
It's hard and I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it.
They tear me apart. Dead ass. Losing a girlfriend is really hard. But I think that's why I'm very, very, like, to get in, it takes a lot. Because I'm like, once you're in, I'm
Right.
fucked because you ain't going nowhere and I'm not going nowhere.
But that's a good thing because it's like you know what you're looking for in a friendship, and if you open your doors up and you're like, hey, we're gonna be friends. Like for us, it was easy, it was natural. We align on a lot of different things. Actually, we align on pretty much everything except for bedtime. I stay up way later than her.
This bitch is psycho. She'll go to bed at like 4 a.m. and it's 7 a.m. I'm like, Savannah, how do you sleep?
My parents called me the Energizer Bunny my whole life, and this is exactly why. But I do think that having like your guard up is always important because there are people that take advantage for the wrong reason. And breaking up with a friend is hard, but it's going to benefit you in the future because it's going to hurt you more if you don't do it. If you know it's not true for you.
I mean, we talked about toxicity a lot, and I'm really huge into that. If you're feeling, again, if it's leaving you with less in your cup than it is filling you, you don't want to be in that friendship. Haley and I kind of went through this phase, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm not saying cut them off for good. If it's someone that you truly love, Raphael kind of talked about this of like holding them accountable. So I was in a really, really bad relationship previously, and Haley was there before it and now after it. But during that relationship, I came to her time and time and time again, and she kept seeing the abuse and was like, you gotta get out. And I was like, but I love him. And she kind of left me for a while there. And that hurt because I was like, of all people, Hale. So I was like, I needed you. And she was like, but I couldn't keep enabling everything that you were going through.
Which props to Haley because that's hard too.
It's
for
hard.
Sure.
So when her and I first kind of got back together and we like met up and I started talking to her about like everything that was going on, I was like, hey, at first I was really hurt because obviously I'm like, you kind of left me in a time where I felt like I really needed you. But I think now looking back, she did me a service. She said, you know what, your worth is more and I can see it. If you can't, that's on you. But like right now I need to take a step away. And I respect that. I don't feel like there's anything that the three of us could go through that I would maybe walk away from you guys at this point, just because it's the fact of like, I think I've gone through one of my hardest things that I've ever had to go through. And I realize how much your support system really gets you through. I literally have told them like, you guys have kept me afloat the last 7 months almost. Holy shit. I don't even know today's date. I think we're pushing 7 months. What's today's date?
May 23rd.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we're definitely getting close. 7 months, though. And I was like, I've literally put my all into these girls to be like, hey, like, and my husband of like, this sucks. Because, I mean, my family's kind of all going through it. And I feel weird calling my brothers or my mom and being like, because it's, to them, it's almost like they're healing on their own. So at that time of loss, you kind of lean to the people who aren't necessarily hurting in the same ways that your family is. So what was I going with that? I was going somewhere.
I don't know, but I loved it. But to your point,
Do you
it's
think
like,
I'm pretty?
I think you're pretty. You're
So you
kind of
think I'm cute?
You're kind of cute. I think to your point, it's like there's times in your life when your friends need you more. So all of us support, lift, because we know that if we need that too, you would be there.
Yes.
And so you have to have that.
I know where my points were
I,
going.
I was connecting them for you.
I was saying, what I was saying was, Haley took a step back because that was what I needed at the time. There's going to be things where I go through and it's like, if you back up, I'm going to kill you. Like, if you back up, then keep it moving. Because like my dad's loss, like, nobody took a step back. If anything, everyone, like, came so tight. And I was like, holy shit. I was almost like, they were literally getting me through the day.
You were overwhelmed with my texts.
Yeah, like, even just waking up and opening your eyes, it's just like, I can't do this today. But they would call and be like, hey, like, let's do something today. Or, so there are times where if a girlfriend walks away from you, and it's a friend that you really, really, really thought was your strongest friend, take a look at why they're walking away. Especially because if you put that trust in them to be your best friend and you're going through some shit or you're in a bad space and they walk away, maybe take a look in the mirror. But if it goes opposite and you're like, you know what, I've done nothing wrong. Like, I really needed your support and you're nowhere around. That's maybe take a look at them and your circle. A lot of questions were people asking like how to deal with your friendship breakups. And I know we had kind of touched on that. But I think let's talk about once it's gone. How did you rebuild after losing like a really close girlfriend?
You know, the sad thing is like looking back at like all of my friendships, if I really like dig deep at my friendships, there's not someone that would be, I could look back and be like, they were my ride or die. Like, I could call them with anything. There was always pieces that I kept from everyone because there was so much hurt in my past relationship. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't when a friendship ended, I which this sounds terrible, but like I didn't care because it was also more work on me. I felt like always, because that's the people pleaser in me. So I felt like I was always giving. And that was, so when a friendship ended, I was like, all right, well, cool, bye. Whereas as now I'm older and I've kind of cultivated my circle, it's like you realize that
I'm crooked.
they have your back. And that I if our friendship ended, how I would handle it is I have no clue. I would
Dead ass. If I were to lose,
I have no clue.
I don't know what I would do at this point. I think something that's kind of, and this is again your opposite in of, I've always overshared. But something that was always funny to me is when I was in a really bad stage in my life, being with a really bad boyfriend, because I've had two boyfriends before Raphael, and I would hide stuff from my girlfriends because there was shit going on that you hide, especially when you're dating someone shitty. Now, me and Raphael, we're so strong. It doesn't mean we don't have our hiccups once again, but I tell them everything. Raphael's like, stop telling them this stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry. I think if you're hiding stuff from your people, either you have the wrong people, again, so look at your people. If you're hiding stuff from your friends, look at your people and be like, why am I hiding something from you? Or you could say, why am I hiding something from you? And if you're doing something wrong that you can't share with your friends, well, then that's on you.
For sure.
So I think it's really a two-way street of any friendship. You either need to look at your circle or look at yourself of if anything's going on. And that's with any relationship. Again, it could be with your mom. You're disagreeing with your mom. And it'd be like, well, what are we fighting over? Okay, is it her fault? Is it my fault? Like, I think we're huge in accountability of just like really just looking in the freaking mirror and being like, I had this conversation with somebody. I'm going to keep this very vague. And she was talking about like her anxiety and how she'll take it out on her boyfriend. And I said, at the end of the day, it's not your boyfriend's fault. Like, this is your fault. So you need to look in the mirror. If he's giving you no reason to think anything's up or he's cheating, but you're putting it out there, it's almost, if you're creating your own stuff and then putting it out there and being like, say I'm like, oh, Savannah's, I don't know, talking shit about me. And she's like, huh? I'm creating that problem. I need to deal with myself. If Savannah's out there talking shit, I'm going to be like, you know what? Like,
I'm talking mad shit.
Actually, yeah. Really, though. Actually, you're just a clout chaser.
You know, that's me over here.
That's just me. A lot of, oh my God, this is a great question.
Great.
Oh, I love this one. Oh, I just got so excited.
I just got so nervous.
FOMO. How to accept that your BFF has another BFF and handle the stress/loneliness of that.
Why are you directing that at me?
Savannah's the worst when it comes to this. This is where I literally have looked at Savannah and I said, Bestie, I'm not replacing you, okay?
Well, and that goes again into my past friendships and the trauma of bringing that past drama into new friendships of being, okay, I have been left out so many times. And I went to a really small private school. Like, my graduating class was 13. So everyone knew everyone's shit. And it was just like, you didn't get a chance to grow because you were with each other from 7th grade to graduation. And so for me, having past friendships, I brought in that trauma of like, okay, I have been left in friendships. I have been part of 3 where it's all of a sudden I'm not in that friend group anymore. And that sucks, being that third person who's like on the outside because their bond of 10 years is stronger. But growing and learning, it's like, if you're not happy for that person and their friendship and their bond, then you're not a true friend. So when she's with Haley, like, I'm like, awesome, you guys are having fun. Or when she's going to an event, it's like, good for you. I hope you have fun. And being that supportive, encouraging person, because that's what your friend needs. And that's what a true friend would do. That being said, though, I still have FOMO. Like, FOMO's a real thing.
FOMO is so real. I'll be like, come. And she'll be like, sorry, I can't. I really got to get homework done.
It's because
she'll be calling me all night. Are you okay? Are you having fun? I'm so jealous. I know. I'm like, are you even doing your homework? No. I'm just waiting for you to post on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God.
But also it goes to like, every time you say no, you have to take those repercussions. So like, some of the things I've said no to, I still regret. And so now I'm like, I don't say no. I just go every single time.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about that. This Timberwolves game, I bought tickets for my cousin Savannah. She was graduating, and I ended up buying 4 because you had to buy them in 2s or 4s, right? And Savannah wanted to go. Other Savannah. And so we're like, okay. So then I bought the 4th ticket anyways because I was like, I have to buy the 4th. So I was like, you're coming. I still have yet to tell her how much these tickets fucking cost me. And she was like, I thought they were for free. I was like, no. And it was the best game ever. It literally was. I lost my voice. It was the best game ever. Something I wanted to bring back, and we go back into seasons and reasons. And what's funny to me is Savannah's my FOMO friend of like, she gets this sense of like, you still love me, right? And I'm like, yes, I still love you. But what's funny is you're the heaviest in that, but you're the newest and you do the most with me. So I'm like, if like say Haley, for example, anytime I'll be like, yeah, like where did we go? And I brought Savannah to a Sigma event with me, and Haley was like, thanks for the invite. I was like, babe, you hate being recognized. You hate talking to strangers. I'm like, if you just want the free makeup, here you go. And she's like, no, you're so right. And I'm like, you also start to learn your friends too, of like, sometimes it's not about like, oh yeah, Haley's been around longer, or my mom's been around and wants to go. It's really who's going to go in that room. And also because especially doing what I do now, like I can't walk into an event with someone that's don't talk to me, don't look at me, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Not saying Haley would do that. I think she could definitely fake it till she makes it, but you genuinely enjoy not even like the PR package that you get. You don't, both of us are like, oh, there's a package? Okay. On our way out, they're like, here, don't forget your bag. And we're like, we just loved being in the room. We loved talking to people. We just loved networking. You're a very big networker, especially doing what you do.
Yeah. The social aspect. I love it.
Yeah. But even like your professional career, people are like, one, they'll follow, they follow you because they have seen me and they've seen me post to you. So they kind of already know what you do. Or when she meets new people, they're like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, well, and she gets new clients from it. I'm sure you've probably gotten a couple clients just from being out and about. Yeah.
For sure.
I am always like, yeah, if you think I'm pretty, it's because of her. And then I'll be like, do you want to meet Savannah?
You're like, she's right here, actually.
Yeah, actually, funny fact, $10 off your first service. Actually, that was a joke. I don't know if that's true.
You actually get $50 off your first service.
$50 off if you mention my name with Nurse Savannah Brennan at the Lifetime Medi Spa in St. Louis Park, right off of whatever road.
I don't know the road. I'm terrible with directions.
I was going to say, are you going to fill in for me here?
5525 Cedar Lake Road. That's all I know.
Cedar Lake Road. Okay. Hashtag $50 off. Catherine Eves.
Clutch.
Do I get $50 off?
Sure. Whatever you want, honey.
Okay. You know what? Go see anybody else. I do want to talk about that in another topic a couple months down the road. I don't want it to be like within the next few weeks, but I do want to talk about your profession. I want you to give a little bit of advice on to like your story or whatever you want to give. That is one thing I actually will say. I told Hannah last night. Hannah's my hair girl. Shout out to Hannah. I actually have two.
Both Hannahs.
Both Hannahs. Shout out to both Hannahs. Hannah 1 does my cuts and Hannah 2 does my coloring. But Hannah 1 came out to the event last night. So I guess we literally just jumped into this topic. I got a burp.
Excuse you. Wow, right into the microphone. I heard that from here.
Santino. Anyways, Hannah Hair Cutter, was at this event last night that we had at Handsome Hog. We literally just jumped right into the episode and didn't even get like a life update. So Handsome Hog released a drink in honor of my dad. We threw a little bit of an event there. Hannah came last night. And I got this PR package from Kerastase, and Hannah was like, oh my God, let me give me all the lineup. I'm going to write out how to use it. I said, Hannah, no. I was like, I tell Savannah this all the time. It's a little different because we are your guys' clients. So like, yes, you give your clients some knowledge. I mean, obviously. Back when I was in banking, I would be like, this is how you save for the next 30 days until you come back next month.
No more Amazon purchases.
Yeah. Anyways, back to scheduled programming. I tell people all the time, your knowledge is so, you paid how much to go to school? I don't even want to know. Don't answer that on camera. Yeah, I didn't do the math and I'm not going to do the math. I tell people this all the time, like, because originally, and this is going full circle back into how we originally started, I was like, hey, Savannah, how many units do I need? With no intentions to even really go to her.
Right?
Originally.
Like, yeah.
Sorry. I love you so much.
Honestly, that's so common, though, especially in this industry because it's kind of like price shopping.
But she does that. She'll be like, someone will be like, hey, can I get a skincare routine? She will spend an hour. She'll be like, what's your skin type? What do you use? What's your acne levels? Blah, 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 blah. And this bitch will live in like Idaho. And I'm like, Savannah, she's never going to come to you. Like, why are you spending an hour of your time? Which I get, especially being on social media. I don't know. But
I've learned a lot from you in that sense. Because it's like, for me, I grew up with the lesson of you help people where you can, which all of us do. And then it's like, you don't say no if you don't have a real reason. So for me, I'm a yes person. And I'm like,
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
But there's the boundaries. Again, I'm
gotta
still
be.
learning my boundaries, and it's
Not
hard.
only that, you work 2 jobs. You're trying to grow your social medias. You're still in school. You're married. You're a brand new homeowner. You're a dog mom. And she's like, yeah, I got to take an hour to make a skincare regimen from someone in Nebraska. And I'm like, Bessie, no, you don't. Like, no, you really don't. Like, I keep telling her at this point, which I go so opposite because normally I'm like, stay up with your DMs, like, get in there, engage with people in your DMs. At this level, I can't. But back at that stage of like that level, it's very important to engage back and keep up with your DMs. But I'm like, this, where I was saying is, I want a whole episode on this because I think it's really important to just talk about professions. And I think a lot of people give out free knowledge, especially on social media. And there's boundaries of like, knowledge is powerful and there's certain things that you should share, but there's other things where I'm like, Savannah, like, and again, I was telling Hannah this last night. I was like, Hannah, it would take you like an hour to describe everything and tell me. I was like, I'm not paying you for that hour. Why are you giving me that hour free? And she's like, well, because I love this. And I was like, but protect your knowledge because it was not free.
You can be passionate while still protecting.
Yes.
Which even my size, which is small, because very small compared to you.
Everybody tell her that your size, we're not comparing.
We're not
You
comparing,
have a lot of followers.
But even at the...
She has almost 7,000 followers on Instagram, and she's been working her ass off to beat 7,000, but Raphael's got more than her right now.
We're not going to talk about that right now because it's a very sensitive topic for
Everyone
me.
go follow Savannah.
I have to beat Raphael, okay?
I have to beat Raphael. But I always tell you, you have a lot of followers.
But yes, I definitely do. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of them because my life is so insane. So there's some days, weeks where I'm like, I'm not present, but you're still here. And I love and appreciate each and every one of them.
Yeah.
And even at my size, it's hard to answer DMs. And for me, I felt that pull where I would have a reminder on my phone every single night to answer DMs. And it became a point where I was like, I can't. Like, I'm so depleted that I don't even enjoy it. And that's where a friend being honest, challenging you, saying, hey, you don't have to answer those. Before we had that real conversation and having someone help me from that aspect of like social media and that career, because I don't have any other people that love it in my life, it's like, oh, okay, that's good to know, because you just kind of go and you're like, I'm supposed to interact, I'm supposed to respond, which I love to respond when I can, but having someone challenge you in a friend group saying, hey, you don't have to do that, it's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I actually needed that. Thank you.
You really don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, keep up with your again, we'll get into this, but I thought it was kind of comical that Hannah had brought that up last night. She was like, oh, I'll do a whole list.
Right after I left too, I'm like,
I was like, yeah, you missed her by like 10
know.
seconds. Shout out to Hannah. I love her. I wanted to do a quick shout out to this girl named Morgan. She had came up weird. Hannah just liked my story.
Are you
really
watching,
weird.
Hannah?
So yeah, Hannah, can you hear us, Hannah? Hannah's gonna be like, get my name out of your mouth, you freaks. She's literally the cutest human being I've ever seen.
So
She's
sweet.
at Blonde Deluxe in did they move? They moved into Minneapolis.
Oh, I
I'm
don't
just
know
gonna
what
say
their address
Minneapolis
is.
as a vague. It's because she used to be in Edina,
Yeah.
right? So I absolutely love her. I've actually gotten a couple different I've gotten a brand deal offer from a pretty big hair chain place. And it was pretty good money. And I was like, no, because I love Hannah. And I told Hannah about this. She was like, you're lying. I was like, no, I'm dead ass serious. Raphael like saw the deal and he was like, wait, can I go? He's like, I'll go get a haircut. And I was like, no, it doesn't work that. I actually did count. I was like, I told my manager, I was like, can we counter with Raphael? And they had said no. But I was like, I literally love Hannah this much. I tell everyone to go to Hannah. You don't go there yet, but it's fine. She's loyal to her gal.
Right.
Sorry, Hannah.
You find your people. You find your people.
Literally.
And it's like, when you trust them, you're trusting them with your whole look.
Yeah.
Like,
that's another thing. And again, this goes off of community. And I know I have a very powerful community behind me, but I really encourage people to find their own in whatever way that may look like for you. But what's funny is a year ago, I had just gotten married. Hadley. 2 seconds. We're almost done. Anyways, this was, I put on Instagram. I almost said Facebook. I don't even use Facebook.
we did just become Facebook friends, though.
Yeah, we did.
We're real friends now.
Hashtag in a relationship. It's Facebook official. Oh my God. Anyways, I posted on Instagram. I said I'm looking for a new haircut, haircut girl, because the girl that I was going to at the time, she didn't do cuts, and I wanted to chop my hair. I wanted someone that specialized in cutting because I feel like my hair is so thick but very thin. Whatever.
Tell us all about your hair, girl.
Anywho, I posted I'm looking for a new girl I'm looking for a new person that does hair care or haircuts, and they specialize in haircuts. a ton of people actually said Hannah. And I looked at her page and she was a follower. And I was like, oh my God, I love supporting people who support me. I've just been always extremely passionate about that with anything and everything that we do.
But she unfollowed me, okay?
Yeah, I unfollowed all injectors because I was like, you know what? I'm never getting my lips done. Anyways, it was one time. You unfollowed me 3 times in a week on TikTok. You really want to get technical here?
Sorry about that.
You're
TikTok
in the
is
loop.
not
I
bad.
will win this war, okay? Anyways, TikTok doesn't know. Whatever. Anyways, so even just right there. So that's how I met Hannah. I'm sitting in Hannah's chair and I'm looking at Hannah's business cards and I was like, oh my God, those photos are fire. She's like, oh yeah, her name's Lexi. So I go find Lexi on Instagram. Lexi's now our photographer. We love Lexi.
We love Lexi.
Literally love Lexi. So last night, Savannah and I are there. Lexi shows up. Hannah shows up. Lexi was on the way leaving. Savannah had just left. Lexi was about to leave. Hannah comes in. Lexi sees Hannah and is there longer than we left before they even left. Lexi was literally still there. But right there was 3 friendships built off of just a word of mouth. And now you guys all, and like Haley now goes to Hannah. You now use Lexi as like your photographer for your own personal stuff. Lexi's done Haley's bridal shower. So like these people are all incorporated and we're all friends. And it's so amazing because again, it literally started with just me posting, I'm looking for a hair girl.
Yeah. And
now there's many relationships that have been built, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's the whole point. I think it's very important to know that it's okay if other girlfriends meet each other and become closer friends. It'll sting, yeah. But at the end of the day, I believe that we're all vessels here and we're all supposed to meet each other for different reasons, different seasons and reasons. But I love that we're all integrated. And I love that we could all be on one patio and be like, oh my God. And we're all just like, hey. And there might like, say for example, Lexi and Haley never met each other, but Haley and Hannah knew each other and know Savannah. And it just feels more organic and more, it's easier to kind of
mesh.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and once you've cultivated your circle, anyone you bring in, usually they jive
fit
really
well.
well because
Yeah.
you've cultivated your circle. And that's the beautiful thing about bringing in like Lexi. I met both of them because of Catherine, and it was like connected right away because that pre-screening where it's like, hey, I like this person. They're great. They're fun. And the personalities just go, which is so fun because you can just pick up the conversation anywhere.
Yeah.
What were you saying about Morgan though?
Oh, okay. So Morgan is someone I actually used to work with. They were there. I think you had already left. And she was like, I'm actually moving to Tampa. And I was like, it's funny because I haven't seen them since I worked with them 5-6 years ago. I don't even know. At first I was like, I recognize you guys, but I don't know from where. And they're like, actually, we worked with you at the bank. And I was like, oh, funny. But Morgan's moving to Tampa this Thursday. And she was like, can you talk about moving across the country? Because she had known that I moved across the country and building new friends. And I had told her, I was like, there's a couple things of advice that I have to give you. If you lose friends from back home, so many people move states thinking they're gonna be friends with their kindergarten bestie that they've been friends with their whole life. It's not true. Maybe you'll be able to catch up wherever you left off when they visit you or when you visit back home. But don't expect it. Just always come in with the mindset of building new friendships. That's the most important. Try not to what is the word?
Force?
Try not to hold on to the old. Try not to.
Are you glitching?
Barely.
Try not to force it to
What is the word? Dwindle. What is the word? Try not to. Hey.
Your math ain't mathin' right now.
What is the word? There's a word where it's like you're trying not to hold on to the. Anyways. Try not to force the old friendships to stay alive.
Comment on the video if you know the word that she's talking about.
Santino, can you actually just cut that all out? Because I look like I literally need a medication to get through the day. Honestly, I probably do at this point. Hashtag my Vyvanse is not in the system yet.
Or your coffee, to be honest.
Right. No, okay. So what I was telling Morgan is like, just don't expect those friendships to just keep on keeping on. They might if you go home and they come to visit you, like pick up where you left off type shit. But don't. God, I literally want to use the word so bad, and it's like right at the tip of my tongue. Don't dwindle. Don't. Is that? It's not.
No, because I would think like force. Like don't force it to work. Like there's a.
What's it when you're like, fuck me in the asshole?
Don't cut that.
Cut that. Dead ass. What am I trying to say? I need to, I physically cannot
Do you
let
want a
this
sip
go.
of coffee?
Do not.
Explain it to me.
Don't dwell. Don't dwell. Why was
Dwindle. Don't dwindle.
What does dwindle
even mean? Google.
Hey Siri, what does dwindle mean? She didn't hear me. It's fine.
She never listens.
Okay, we're gonna go back. Santino, that can definitely be bloopers, but let's cut all of that, please, because that was embarrassing. So Morgan was telling me she's moving across the country, and I said, don't dwell too hard on your past relationships. Focus more on building the new ones. Get down there and get into new environments. Go to the library. Go to a bar. Go to the trivia nights. Go to the park. Rent a kayak. Like, there's going to be other girls that you'll see out and about. Give a smile and just start there. But don't dwell too hard on like, oh my God, Savannah's back home and like I haven't talked to her in 3 days. Because at the end of the day, you're building a whole new life. And that starts with letting go of the past. Sometimes people will continue on, but don't force that relationship. Don't force it because it's all you know. The entire reason of moving is to build something new. And I really, really believe that moving across the country and leaving everything in the past, I really had that mindset of like, these friends will be with me forever. We had plans to like visit each other. We would FaceTime every once in a while, and it kind of fizzled. And now I'm like, I feel like it would have fizzled even if we were in the same state, but they would have held me back because it's all I knew. And I didn't know who I wanted to be because I was in the same space, in the same state, with the same people since I was 5. And we all kind of just grew. Well, you go to college, you get married, and you're done. Like, that's just kind of the mindset of like my hometown. Not saying that everyone did that, but I wouldn't be who I am today without getting out and trying new things and meeting new friends and really kind of finding who I am as a person. Pushed me to find a circle that also pushes me as a person. We push each other. Getting out, and I told Morgan, I was like, I'm so proud of you for making that life change. That's huge.
For sure. And growing's uncomfortable. Like, growing is super uncomfortable, but you can't get to where you're supposed to be if you don't grow. If you're stagnant, you're going to eventually look back and be like, I did nothing, or I didn't grow, and all my friends are doing their own thing, because each person is going to go live their own life. Like,
Yes.
You have to continue to live your life, and don't let anyone hold you back, because then you start to resent, and then it's a whole nother spiral.
Yeah. I saw this theory, or it was a video on TikTok, and this girl was reading this book. I don't know who she is, so I can't give credit where credit is due, but she was reading this book. I don't even know the name of the book, but she was explaining that there's a stage in your life where you live, okay, right? Here's you living, and then you have like an epiphany, right? And you're not who you want to be at the time right now. Sorry, the dogs are barking, and I'm not, if you can hear them, I'm sorry. So you have this stage of life where you're at, and then you have a vision of your future, right? The middle ground could be a month from the first move that you're ready to make, right? You know right now where you're at in life you're not happy with, but you have a vision. Mm-hmm. It could be a month that it'll take you to kind of like figure out how to get to that new life. It could take 10 years. But that growing space is going to be the most uncomfortable time because you know you have to make changes. It's just how long are you going to take to get to that future you? And I thought that was so important because that is such a horrible stage. When it's all you know and you have no other sights, you have no other visions, you have no other mindset, you don't give a fuck because you're like, oh, I'm just living life. But when you're like, ooh, you know what? I don't want to be this person anymore. How do I get to here? Mm-hmm. Finding your new circle of like people of being like, hey, Savannah, this is what I want to do. And really even just sitting down at a table and you can even be like, hey, Catherine, this is something I want to do. Someone somewhere always has an answer. We had this I was with a meeting and I had talked about this last week she had brought up real estate. And then I was like, oh my God, my husband and I want to get into that. And we started talking about that. It literally just sparks with, this is what I want to do. Just at a random table, you could be like, yeah, this is what I'm looking to do. Someone at the next table over might be like, oh my God, I have someone for you.
You really have to know yourself and what your goals are to be able to do that. So if you don't know who you are as a person, figure it out. Go and test things. If you're like, hey, I kind of want to try swimming, go try it. You don't know until you try, and you'll fail multiple times. I still fail on the daily, but you don't know until you try. And then you can say, okay, I did it, and it's going to propel you forward, which is, I think, so important. And you're going to have roadblocks.
This is where I'm going to tell her, you never fail. Okay. I definitely think the only time anyone can ever fail is exactly like I said. If you're standing in a spot knowing you want to get somewhere else and you do nothing to get there, that's failure. Mm-hmm. I think if you put a foot forward and you try, getting through the day is a win in my book.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if you're putting even a centimeter forward to get to a different life that you're wanting to live. I really, truly believe you don't have, I mean, your dreams are different than my dreams. I don't have the same dreams in my mind because that's not the life that I'm supposed to have for myself. That's not the life God gave me. I have these visions of my own future because that's something that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, put in me because that's the seed that I'm supposed to be growing for my lifetime. Same with you. I think a lot of people get caught up of like, God, I should be doing this, this, and this because my girlfriends are doing it. No, if you have a passion for something, chase that. Your girlfriend should be very proud of you. Again, I go back into Haley wants to be a mom. I'll be so proud because that means that she got the life that she envisioned for herself and she wanted. When you hit your goals and you do what you want to do, I'm going to be so excited because it's not a competition.
Yeah.
Because my vision for my life is not the same that you have, and it's not the same that Haley has. It's really just making sure to stop being in a competitive field and being in a supportive field for everything that you do. Support yourself, support your friends. Don't take any day as a failure. Every day here on earth is a win.
And if you do, like, I think if you make it competitive, then you're not going to be able to reach your potential either. So it's like you're not going to get to where you need to be and you're going to be stuck and you're going to hit that roadblock. And it's like, why am I keep hitting these roadblocks? Really challenge yourself to be like, is this for me? Is this something I want? Or is it because I'm around a bunch of people who maybe want that for me? Like for me, my whole life, my dad was like, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a doctor. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, I'm not. And
No, I'm not.
here I am in NP school. But at the same time, it's like, you have to really figure it out for yourself and what you want for your life because otherwise you won't succeed because it's not meant for you. So I think really internalizing being like, this is who I am, figuring out who you are because then you can offer your best self to everything around you.
Yeah. I really go back into also if just because, say, Savannah's going to be a doctor, right? That's insane.
It is insane.
That is insane. But I'm never going to sit here and be like, say my only goal in life was to be a stay-at-home mom and that's my dream. That's okay. Just because she's a doctor and I'm a stay-at-home mom doesn't mean anyone's better or worse than the other. It's that you followed your dreams, I followed mine. Like that should be what it's all about. You might go find another friend who can maybe relate to your doctor life, or I might find mom friends. It doesn't mean we can't be friends. It's just
stages.
Yes. It's just finding other people. And sometimes it's good to have an opposite. Sometimes it's good to have friends that are similar. Just really finding your group to support you. I know this episode's going to go really long. We've talked forever.
We can talk forever.
So let's kind of wrap this up. Follow us on Instagram. I have my main page, and then I also I started the I Think I'm Human 2 page. So if you want to follow that podcast page, we will post our part 2 on there. So I say this every episode, I open up a questionnaire on Instagram. Anything that we missed, anything you want us to cover in a part 2, I'll most likely have her back for a part 2. Here's something that's exciting, though. Sunday, we leave for Mexico, and normally I post the question boxes on Sundays. We record on Mondays/Tuesdays, and the episode goes live Thursdays. This episode will be live this coming Thursday. Sunday, we leave for Mexico. So I don't know necessarily yet if I want to bring the podcast stuff to Mexico. I'm kind of thinking if I can make it work, I think it would be dope to do one in Mexico.
You guys want to come to Mexico?
You want to come to Mexico? Get your passports. No passports needed, actually.
Really?
Not for you, but I meant for them.
I was like, wait, really?
But no, please don't forget your passport.
I have my passport.
She would bring it anyways. So I'm kind of debating if we're either going to take a week off and get back to filming the following week, or if we bring it to Mexico. Stay tuned. I'll announce that on Instagram probably this coming weekend. If I can make it work, I think it would be so cool to I might even
fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. But packing all this and say, God forbid, if it gets lost, I would be so heated.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll kind of figure it out from there.
That's an episode in itself for sure.
Right. Anything that you want to touch on? Any last?
No.
Follow her on Instagram. Get her past Raphael.
Yes, please. I think that you guys all had really great questions, though. Honestly, making new friends is tough. Like, it is really tough. You have to be vulnerable, which I think is really, really hard. But just go in with an open mind. Go out and do things that you love, and you'll eventually find your people. I mean, yeah, we met in the weirdest way, but now I can't imagine my life without her, and I tell her more than really anyone. I know. I won't let her get to her head, I promise. I'll humble her. Maybe a little.
I think something that's important, I always try to wrap up every episode of we're all humans, right? Whenever, and this can go even in dating, we're all vulnerable. We all are emotional, men, women, the girls and the gays, all of us, we go through the same shit in different scenarios, different cases, but we're all human. We all have to keep a guard up, but also keep it down. I think it's very, I'm very level-headed. That's the Libra in me. So like there's a lot of give and take in my life, but I do think it's very important to always have your guard up to a certain extent, to not just let anybody and everybody in, but also be open enough to be, I don't know,
to allow new people to come in.
Yeah.
Because if you're closed off and if you're sitting at a bar with your arms crossed looking down at your phone, I mean, I wouldn't approach someone like that.
Yeah, no.
But if someone's smiling at me, I'd be like, oh, hi. And I'd go say hi. If you see me at a bar, I'm like, oh, I like your shirt. I like your pants.
Literally.
I'm like,
I said that previously. Just be open. Just be open to, because if you put out there, I'm open, you don't have to say like at the bar, you don't have to put a sign up in the seat, I'm open, like come hang out.
free seat right here.
But it goes vibes. Like it goes off your energy. Every energy you emit comes back to you. So like really focus on the energy that you're giving, and everything will happen for a reason.
Every day you wake up is a blessing, and take it as that, and go out there and just live your best life.
I'm living my best life. We're going to be in Mexico.
With a lot of sunscreen, don't worry.
I'm going to fry like a lobster.
I'm going to be spraying her with sunscreen, so stay tuned for that video.
Well, we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to follow. This week we did a, oh yeah, can't forget the cowboy slippers. We just did a giveaway for 5 pairs. I sold them out again from the store that I buy them from. So every week I feel like we're going to keep this rolling. I want to kind of figure out how we can keep doing some giveaways on the Human 2 page. So
that'll be fun.
Maybe.
We all love free stuff.
I
love a good giveaway.
I want to do giveaways based on like the episodes. So I don't know how I can give away a free friend. Cause you ain't taking my gals.
Is that the jealousy coming up?
It's my FOMO. Okay, we will see you guys either next week or the week after. But goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. This is literally how we hang up our phones.